Ladies and gentlemen, on the line, I have Dale. How are you?
All right. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Appreciate you joining the show again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's before we talk prison, let's remind everybody where you come from. You're a founding member of the BG White Boys, right?
Yes, sir. There was four of us original, and I ended up being number two.
Gotcha. And you had to fight your way up from number four, right?
Yes,
Is that what I
sir.
remember?
We all four went in Marlowe Park, and we said, okay, we're all 12 years old. Who's going to be first? So Moose was the first one that started the initiating to be in it, and he got beat by Curtis, and then Curtis got beat by Asa, and then I beat all three of them, and Whitey ended up being the original of the BG White Boys.
Gotcha.
And I was number two.
Yep. And for everybody out there, I will be releasing an episode of me and Dale's conversation about the BG White Boys, so he'll get more in depth into that. But today I want to talk about your journey through the system. How old were you when you first got locked up?
I was I was 17 when I went to juvenile hall, and then from juvenile hall went into San Quentin at 18 years old. That was in 1980, August 26, 1980. I was sentenced to 3 years for methamphetamines.
Damn. What juvenile hall were you at?
In Los Padrinos.
Yep, in Downey, right?
Yes, right there in Downey on Downey Avenue at Los Padrinos, and then I went to Central. And then when my daughter was born, they released me out of juvenile camp.
Okay.
When my daughter Gina was born.
Gotcha. And how did you go from Los Padrinos to San Quentin?
Okay, what happened is you remember the Quick Way store right there on Gage,
yep.
And it would be Gage and I'm gonna say Eastern.
Okay.
The Quick Way right there where the flower place used to be right there. It was on the corner before you get to the bridge. We go over the bridge, Grace Bridge. All right. Anyway, there was a store right there called Quick Way. They called me the Levi Bandit, Rooftop Bandit. Samuel Dale Monfuz, look for the Levi Bandit because he's going through the rooftops. All right, there was a jewelry store right there across the street from Ball's Drugs and Foodland and McCoy's Market.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, Officer Reed and Kojak got me inside of the jewelry store at the same time with the methamphetamines and sent me to 3 years in San Quentin.
That seems like a hard sentence for meth. Was it a lot of meth or?
Yes, it was 7 pounds. It was 7 pounds.
Oh,
I had cooked the meth. All right.
Gotcha.
I didn't really want to put that out there like that, but I'm just I don't want to incriminate myself.
Yeah, of course, and yeah.
So in other words, it was methamphetamines and a burglary. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. So that's the way I needed to word it. Okay.
Gotcha.
And anyway, went in for 3 years, and in the process of 3 years, I ended up doing 17 stabbings on files.
Okay, talk to me about that, because I think pedophiles are the biggest piece of shits in the world.
Yes, sir.
Over murders, over anybody. What made you go down that route?
This is all right. This is when it all started. When I walked into San Quentin, you go into R&R. I'm a surfer boy. I got long hair and I got a few tattoos, and I'm a surfer boy. I went out every morning to ride the waves. Gag me with a spoon, shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, all right. What was I getting at?
The staff of the pedophiles.
Okay. Anyway, I'm even gonna put it like this: my dad had done something to me when I was younger, and that's why I ran away and went to Bell Gardens. Okay.
Gotcha.
From Texas. All right.
Gotcha.
That's where I started. All right. So when I went to prison, I had a job. It was an R&R, receiving and releasing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The process, they bring these files in and they bring them on a bus, and it's called PC 1, PC 2, protected custody 1 and protected custody 2. Therefore, they go in a certain cell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hid myself in that cell, and I 17 of them, and I got 35 years for it.
God damn, bro.
Okay.
Damn.
in different spurts, okay?
Yeah.
Not all at once, but in different spurts. So it ended up being 35 years, okay? If you put that 38 years all together, I've been out 1 year.
Damn.
Okay? Through my whole life. But what I was getting at when I walked into San Quentin, I was 17. I was just fixing to turn 18. Okay? Surfer boy, pretty boy. And there's only two things about San Quentin. Either you're a man or you're a punk. Which one you going to do?
Mm.
You're either going to walk like a man or you're going to walk with your butt hurting.
Mm.
Okay? So, I decided to be a man. Because my daddy told me, don't ever let another man tell you what to do. So this man comes up to me, he's big old, look like the Undertaker, and tells me, all right, when you come out of R&R, I want you to go stab me one of them things that they do, like call with the N number.
Gotcha.
Okay? Which was the BGL.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The Black Gorilla family. So therefore, am I going to be stupid enough to go do what this man said, or am I going to be smart enough to deal with that man that told me to do that?
Ah.
So what I done when I came out of R&R, I picked up that knife he gave me, and I went on the lower yard, and I tapped him on his back, and I stabbed him 3 times.
God damn.
And I said, okay, 9 months later, check this out. My cellie goes home. 9 months later, they put this man that I just stabbed 3 times in my cell. He said, if you'd have done anything else besides what you done, you would have caused a riot, and a lot of people would have got hurt. So therefore, me and you are cellies, and he was my teacher and my cellie for 25 years.
Mm. Damn.
So he taught me what to do. And I became a tattoo artist inside. You know what I mean? In the process, we got busted with dope. In the process, we had riots. In the process, the Bell Gardens white boys became coming there, New Folsom, you know, Seaburn Wyatt, you know, Little Hitler, Whitey, James Cartwright, all of them, man, they all end up either ODing or they all passed away in prison.
Damn.
I am the only one that is left. Okay?
Wow.
I am the only living breed out of all of us that started that. It ended up being like 35 of us original.
Okay, so 35, okay.
Yes, there's original. Like I said, there was no original 4. There was a BG Boys. Then it became the BG White Boys. Mm-hmm. Then it became BG Locos. You get me?
That's
because
right.
They teamed up with the Southsiders. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anyway, it's the same thing in prison. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what you do inside follows you outside, and what you do outside follows you inside.
I've heard that.
There is no way of getting around it. So you represent and you keep a good taste in people's mouth, because if you don't, you're going to get hurt. Mm. Really, really bad on a slip of a word.
Yeah.
Not because you done something wrong. It's because of the slip of a word that you made a decision on.
Were you BG White Boy or were you BG Locals already?
I was the original BG Boy. Mm-hmm. Then when I got out of juvenile hall, we became the Bell Gardens White Boys, BGWB. Mm-hmm.
And you said they turned into BG Locals.
You know what symbol that we use? We use the old Liberty Bell for Bell.
Uh-huh.
And then we use a trash can for gardens.
That's right.
Okay?
Bell Garbage.
Therefore, when we set up our sign, it's got the Liberty Bell and a garbage can, which is called Bell Garbage.
Yeah.
All right? But yeah, we represent whatever we represent out here on the streets, Bubba. It follows us inside.
Okay.
So if you do something wrong, or you do something to your female, or you do something wrong to your kid, it will come inside to us. Mm-hmm. And if we can't get you inside, we will get you when you get back outside. Mm. You get me?
Yeah.
So there's no hiding around it. So yeah, it was. I'm gonna tell you what, we had a lot of loyalty and a lot of structure. Mm. Okay.
Okay.
We built our structure, then we became loyal. Okay. Once we became loyal, then we hooked up with Bell Gardens Park, which we started a baseball team.
Okay.
With the Bell Gardens Locals.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Yeah.
And not the Junior, but who was the other one? Junior Mafia. Yeah, the Junior Mafia by Bell Gardens Park.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So they all started doing good stuff. And then this one bad little bullet right there at that on Gage killed one of the accident, killed one thing, and it just started a whole big feud, and it's still going on till today. You know what I mean?
Damn.
So
That
you
one
can't
thing.
go and shoot somebody up. If you're going to go do something to somebody, go to the right person. Don't kill somebody innocent. And not really kill, but you was there. You was on your way to go hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, hurt the person that you was after, not an innocent kid.
Right. Oh man.
You get me? So it was it was his son that got killed where they thought it was him because it looked like him.
Damn.
And they shot him up, and that was right there on Gage where the speed place used to be, right there by JB's Burgers.
Oh shit, JB's Burgers. Damn. Wow, I remember that.
You know about JB's, boy? Wow. That's a big. Hey, that's the big old famous motherfucking
that's crazy.
French dips and pastrami sandwiches.
Yeah, you just took me back, man. You just took me back, bro.
Man, remember the pastrami sandwiches?
You know what? I used to get the fries or the chili fries. I think that was my thing back in the day. Oh man. Hey, let me ask you. All right, so let's go back to prison because you mentioned something in our last interview that we didn't get to tap into, and I would love to know about this. Doc Holliday, one of the co-founders of the BGF, was in the cell next to you for 12 years?
Yes, he was, his son, all right, the original dad got hurt. He got stabbed, or I think it was he got stabbed and he got cancer and he passed away. So his son took over, and we were in New Folsom together, okay? And he was my neighbor for many years until I went to ADSEG on a possession beef, you know, because when you get caught with drugs in there, you go to the hole.
Ah, okay.
And you do ADSEG time. You do isolation. You know, in Pelican Bay, I know you heard about Pelican Bay.
Of course, yeah.
Oh yeah, the shower comes up to your cell, Bubba.
Yeah.
You got 3 minutes to rinse off, soap up, or get wet, soap up, rinse off. 3 minutes.
So when you get into prison, do you have to? Is it like the movies, you know, where you have to align yourself with certain groups, you know, like the Aryan Brotherhood?
When you go into R&R, when you go and you get stripped out and all that, they search you, blah blah blah, and then you'll come up to an officer and he's going to interview and he's going to ask you, who do you run with? Right when you get off the bus, who do you hang out with? One would say, okay, I'm a South Side. The white boy come up. He says, I'm a white boy. I run with whites. I'm a Wood or a Hispanic or Asian or Black or whatever group that you're going. That is the time that you speak up and you tell them who you're going to live with. Because once you hit that yard, you can't switch up down the road. Once you claim some group, that is it. You cannot switch over to some other group unless you're homosexual.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So when I went in, they asked me, okay, who you run with? White? Okay. There's your group right there. Get over there. You do not step in that group. You do not get in that group. And you do not get in that group from this point on. Or you will be taken out. Okay? So...
Damn, okay.
Yeah, that is real scary. Well, I went in there, dude. I really didn't know anything. And I'm going to tell you the truth. What really saved me from getting all involved in all the drama and the hate and the killing and the pain that a human being eyeballs just don't see all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's things in there that you just don't want to even speak of. I've even seen them. Well, man comes back from a visit. He brings in the marijuana. He brings in the dope. One balloon gets stuck up in his gut. They take him up to the shower. They get a razor blade. They cut his gut open just to get that bag of dope. They left him there dying just to get that dope because he was a mule. But look, let me tell you something. Don't let all these movies, okay, Ain't nobody can tell you the truth about anything about what goes on in prison, brother, until you walk them shoes. Okay? When you walk those shoes, then you will understand what they are trying to do on television. They're getting close, but until you can walk that line and talk that line and be that line, you ain't gonna understand it.
Wow.
You get me?
Yeah.
It's that dangerous. It is that dangerous. It is that intense. Okay? So I did 38 years of intense time. And I made it out alive without getting stabbed. I got beat up one time because I made a wrong choice. Okay? I've had 5 yards for the woods on maximum security institution. I've walked every maximum security prison. I've never PC'd up. I've never told on anybody. And I will take a knife from my friend, and I will give a knife for my friend, and I will take a bullet for my friend, and I will give a bullet for my friend. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So loyalty lies a long ways, man.
Yeah.
And let me let you understand. When I was a kid, I acted as a kid. Okay? I walked like a kid. I talked like a kid. I became a kid. But then Sam Dale Mahfouz put his child things aside, and that's when he became a man. Okay?
Yeah.
That is when Samuel became a man, when he put his childish things aside. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to 13. It's in the Bible. I was a child. I acted as a child. Now I'm a man. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I was stupid and ignorant. Wasn't there for my daughter. Never had been. I put her through so much. I put the wife through everything only because of my selfishness and what I wanted. And didn't think about what other people done and what I was doing and hurting other people. The only thing I wanted was my drugs, and that's all that mattered. Yeah. And I got it any way that I could. And if they didn't do it, I would make sure somebody would go and make sure that it was done. Okay? Yeah. So, yeah, very intense shit. I put Helen, the wife, through a bunch of shit that any average person just don't put some wife through. Okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, I've made her put drugs in her ass or in her pussy. Excuse my language. Yeah. You know what I mean? But every hole she had, she made sure she had full of drugs in that thing and brought it to me. Okay? Wow. And the only thing that saved me in prison was learning how to draw and tattoo. Mm-hmm. And I had my drugs. Ain't nobody gonna mess up no tattooer or no person that's got the drugs in prison. So that was my key, and that was my survival right there, Bubba. Okay.
I actually had during my journey doing the Spell Gardens thing, I ran across a guy who you allegedly gave a tattoo to. His name, and I think his name is Mark, and he said his brother.
Martin.
Yeah, Mark Martin. There you go.
Jeff Martin and Mark Martin. That's my homeboys. They're the original BG White Boys.
There you go. Yeah, I talked to him about three or 4 days ago.
Hey, tell him I love him, man.
I will. I'll make sure I send that.
Matter of fact, give him my number.
Oh, I sure will.
Tell him I'm out here in Texas, man.
I'll give him your number.
Getting married. I got a 6-year-old. Doing good. Got a beautiful wife. I'm fixing to marry.
I'm gonna write your number down right now so I can give it to him.
Okay, you got it right.
I got it right here. Yeah, I called it, so we're good.
Yeah. Hey, he's about my age right now.
Yeah.
And hey, if you really want to hear some stories, get me and him and Jeff Martin together.
Oh shit.
We would do some clowning. Yeah,
we might have to make that happen. We might have to make that happen.
Yeah, we can liven that thing up, man. Put us on what do we call that? Conference call or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like how you think, man.
I ain't heard from that dude in probably 25 years.
Oh,
dude.
Wow. Damn. Okay, yeah. I'm going to make sure I give him your number. As soon as we get done tonight, I'll send it over to him and just say we talked and he said he loves you and give him a call.
Yeah, tell him to give me a call, man.
Most def. This would be a big Bell Gardens reunion at the end of this thing, man. Who knows, huh?
Man, hey.
Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little
Okay, Susan Shardo, they're all the Featherwoods of Bell Gardens. We made the Featherwoods of Bell Gardens. Okay, so we got the Bell Gardens Becker Woods, you know, Bell Gardens white boys, but we got the Bell Gardens white girls.
Okay.
Okay? There's Susan, Shannon, and Janet Shardo are the original Featherwoods of Bell Gardens. For the Bell Gardens white boys.
Okay.
Whatever we had them do, they did it. You know that movie called Play Misty?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay, well, that's what our girls did for us. We send them out. We send them out on missions and tie up the guy, and then we go in and rob them.
Yeah.
We dress them up in little skirts and shit, make them look pretty.
Got them.
And then they'll go and get the dude at the bar right there. Remember Marie's bar? The Marie's bar that used to be right there across the street from Foodland. Okay, well, that was our bars. Marie's bars. Marie would let us go in there and find a dude with a fat pocket.
Wow.
And then we'll send Janet in there, and she'd go flirt with him, and they'd come out and bring him out in the back alley, and we'd beat him up and take his money.
Damn.
And then we'll wait until the truck, the Budweiser and Miller trucks get to running early in the morning and dropping off at the liquor stores, and we'll roll up that big old door on it and grab about 5 or 6 cases of beer and run.
Damn, man. Before cameras and shit, huh?
Yeah, and then Kojak would catch us and take us down in the riverbank and beat our ass with his baton.
Yeah, and Kojak was one of the more famous cops in the area, right? Explain that to people.
He was a very...
Because I remember that name, too.
Yes, he was the one that... he actually looked like Kojak on that show, Kojak. That police show, Kojak?
Yep.
He
Telly
looked
Savalas.
like Telly Savalas. He actually looked like Telly Savalas. Yeah, old Kojak, but he wouldn't put no bruises on you. Everybody tell him, oh, he beat me up, he took me around the riverbed. Well, show me where he hit you. I don't see no marks. No, because he put styrofoam around his damn baton and then fucking beat you in the gut with it.
Damn.
And it don't leave no bruises. It just hurts inside.
I remember some of the older BG locals on. There was one dude that lived across the street from me on Colmar, and he would tell me about He would tell me about this old cop named Kojak, and I just remember it's so weird how you remember certain things, man.
Yeah.
Damn. Did you get bounced around from prison to prison? Like.
Okay, I went in. I was sentenced to 3, and then I got out. Was out like a week. Went back in. Was all of them stretches about 7-8 years at a time.
Okay.
And then I'm only got like 2 or 3 days in between before I was put back into another sentence. In other words, taken out, sentenced, and brought back. Brought back to the court and brought back.
Damn.
So it ends up being 38 years altogether.
Man.
All right.
So
and it's only within less than a year of being out on the streets in between. Yeah.
So you went in San Quentin.
Gina's got all my paperwork. It's got all the dates. I have to look at all the dates, but all the stretches, I think, was the longest was 17. So,
damn, man.
Yeah, it was a long stretch, man. This way, Gina's 42 years old. I only spent maybe less than a full year if you put it all together with her. Out of all those years, okay?
Damn, man.
It's like this, bro. It's like this. Now that I stepped up and I'm a stepdad to a 6-year-old, right? And she's biracial, okay?
Okay.
So she's half black and she's half white. So the things that I'm doing now the right way to the 6-year-old, I wish I could have done for Gina. And now that I post stuff on the Facebook or whatever, Gina sees it and it tears her up, man. Because her daddy wasn't there for her to do that to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I messed up when I was a kid, and I mean, all I can do is ask God for forgiveness. You know what I mean? And I know she loves me, and I love her, but I just, in my addiction, I didn't care about nothing. I didn't know how to be a dad. I didn't know how to be a father. I didn't even know how to be myself. You know, all I was in my addiction on the methamphetamines, and I couldn't stop it. It was controlled me, and I didn't matter about nothing. I was one of the main things that you call a narcissist. Okay. Do you know what a narcissist is?
Like a person who only cares about themselves?
Exactly. And everything else I'm going to hurt in between.
Yeah.
All right. I don't care if you're my mother, my sister, my daughter, my kid. I don't care. If it's something I want, I'm going to make sure I'm going to get it whether I hurt you or not. You get me?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the way my life was with Gina and my wife, Helen.
Yeah, well, bless both of them, man, for still being. I'm sure you feel blessed still having them, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I mean, if she was to hate me, there's nothing I can say about that, you know. But God has allowed me to. It's not how you fall; it's how you pick yourself up.
That's right. That's word. Yeah, man. I love that shit.
Okay? I always remember that, man. It don't matter how you fall, where you fall. God said, always come as you are. Pick yourself up. It don't matter how you do it, when you do it, or who may see you do it. You do that. You pick yourself up and you walk straight. Don't let no one discourage you. You know? You don't have to impress nobody. You don't have to impress nobody. You don't have to like nobody. You don't have to have people like you. But you have to live in society. So my whole goal, since the day I walked into Bell Gardens, my whole day of every day of living, listen to what I'm fixing to say. I would never put a bad taste in people's mouth unless they allow me to. If you make my problems your problem, I am going to put a bad taste in your mouth because I'm going to play it to the fullest. But if you do not play that with me, I will always leave a good taste in anybody's mouth, whether I know you, hate you, or whatever. Before I leave your face, you will have a good taste about me in your mouth. So let everybody know, man, I've been to the prisons, the worst prisons. I've been to the worst. I've been down to the dirt. The 3 years out here in Texas of getting my life together, I lived homeless on the streets. Okay? In the dirt. Just let people know, man, that when you really, really need help, you sit down and you ask God one time. You ask God one time, and you leave that prayer alone, and you don't pray on it again, because if you keep praying on it, it's never going to happen. So you set a prayer, and you let God put that in your hands, because I'm going to tell you, he's going to answer it, because he made me live all this life for 59 years because I believed in God, and he kept me safe, walking every day, and here I am telling you about it. Okay? Because I never stopped believing in my Lord. And I was a dangerous motherfucker. I kill a motherfucker just as quick as I can motherfucking make you happy. You get me? So I ain't never killed a person, never will kill a person, never will take a life. But if you make me hurt you, I will hurt you. And I expect to get hurt too. So I'm not telling you something that I'm not willing to do myself or accept myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because just as much as I can sit here and talk doo-doo, the next person can sit here and talk doo-doo too. And just as much as I can say I can beat that man up, that man can just beat me up just like I can. So if you're going to give an ass whooping, you better take one.
Thank you for tuning in to Dusty Vision TV. Please hit that like button if you have not already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, You just might appreciate this bonus clip I'm about to play for you right now. Prince Whipperwhip is about to get into the Fat Joe situation. Early stages, and you were definitely there as well. Your name was brought up in our interview. And, you mentioned history being rewritten. And, right now we have a bunch of, 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds running with certain narratives of hip-hop and who created it, who was there, who wasn't there, who started it, this and that. But I want your opinion on this, my dude. Fat Joe is getting a lot of backlash about his comments on early hip-hop. Are you familiar with what's been going on with him for the past couple days?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay, fine. I'm glad that it makes it even more better. He had no idea what we were talking about, so that made it even better. How awesome. He had no idea that Fat Joe had just went viral. These are Prince Whipperwhip's fresh views right after finding out that Fat Joe went viral for saying both blacks and Latinos created hip-hop. Let's see what Prince Whipperwhip had to say, just not even knowing anything about anything. Hip-hop. Are you familiar with what's been going on with him for the past couple days?
No, I haven't.
Okay, fine. I'm glad that it makes it even more better. So he's been facing some backlash. He said, and I quote, "Blacks and Latinos both created hip-hop 50-50. And for some reason that has, some are agreeing, some are disagreeing, but it has made him gone viral, and there's been a lot of negativity attached to it. But you were there. What are your thoughts on his comment? Is Fat Joe spot on, or is he way off?
He's not spot on and he's not way off. He's kind of right. I mean, we were there. I mean, let's look at it. Whip was there. He was there. And the first people that I see, even before hip hop, the first folks that I've seen were mostly white and Latino, who were graph writers, and blacks, of course, who were all group.
The first people he's seen related to hip-hop, because graffiti is an element of hip-hop. It's one of the, if not the original main elements of hip-hop. He just said it was whites and Latinos mainly doing graph. That's why it kills me when I hear you people, when I ask you, who give me the name of the person who created hip-hop, and you say Cornbread. 1969. It's almost like you're a fucking robot just repeating whatever you heard on some stupid podcast. You're going to tell me Cornbread is the first person to write his name on a wall illicitly, which is the true definition of graffiti. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm going to keep reminding you. You're telling me Cornbread was the first person to do that in 1969? You're telling me that. But this is a rap pioneer right here. Fresh off the news of what Fat Joe said back then of Latinos and blacks creating hip-hop 50-50. And he took it back to graffiti before MCing, because a lot of you people, we're talking hip-hop and you're talking rap. Hip-hop is the house, rap is a room in the house. But you think rap and hip-hop are both the house. And that just shows me your depth of knowledge that you have on hip-hop. Okay, hip-hop is one of the rooms in the house. Rap is one of the rooms in hip-hop that is the house. Hip-hop is the house. You got the rap room, you got the DJing room, you got the b-boying room, and you got the graffiti room. And knowledge, we'll add knowledge, right? Now, this man right here, hip-hop pioneer, Prince Whipperwhip, a legit source who Lord Jamar had on his show. Legit source is saying it was whites and Latinos. Before there was rap, there was graffiti, which is the main element of hip. Oh my God. All right. What are your thoughts on his comment? Is Fat Joe spot on, or is he way off?
He's not spot on and he's not way off. He's kind of right. I mean, we were there. I mean, let's look at it. Whip was there. He was there. And the first people that I see, even before hip hop, the first folks that I've seen were mostly white and Latino, who were graph writers, and blacks, of course, who were all graffiti writers. Then of course, we come up with this genre of music
which everybody tried to title and retitle, but of course it definitely got to stay for Keith Cowboy. And
Did white people and Latinos create hip hop? This legend right here is saying that it was mostly Latinos and white people doing graffiti. You guys are going to argue with me? You're going to argue with the legend, a pioneer who was there? Who else are you going to argue with? You ding-dongs in the comment section? Like, you people in the comment section need to get a life. And just kind of use your common sense. The good Lord above gave us common sense, and you dingalings in the comment section don't want to use it. But let's continue with Whipper Whip, Pioneer, discussing the Fat Joe comments.
It's what are you gonna say? We were all there. It's hard to say that. I understand the feelings that are being had because it was because back in the day.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on? We were all there. By we, he means blacks, Latinos, whites. It's Prince Whippoorwhip. This is before everything now. Take yourself back to 2022, right? This isn't 2025, right? This isn't 2025. So that makes this interview all the more important. This is him, Prince Whippoorwhip, Latino hip-hop pioneer, giving you his fresh thoughts on when he just heard the Fat Joe thing. He hadn't even heard it yet before I called him right here. So let's keep it pushing.
Hip-hop, people were considering hip-hop to be a black thing. And of course, it's gotten all the backlash because everybody tried to hate on it. Yo, you've seen how they rolled tractors over DVDs and CDs, and so it's like anything that is affiliated with Negroes, with people of color. Of course, the masses are like, "Hey, this is no good." They didn't say that about rock and roll. Yeah, they did. They gave Elvis some flack, but all the greats get flack. We were there definitely from the beginning, and we're still here.
This is a Latino man speaking. We were there from the beginning. Latinos didn't just pop up in 1978 and say, "Hey, we could rap and we can b-boy and we can DJ and we can breakdance and we can do all of that." Yeah. I know we're dressed like cowboys or whatever they tried to like. What are you guys saying? All my life, I knew Latinos were a big contributor to hip hop. Before the internet, when I was coming up, I just knew it.
The Latin musicians were going over to Birdland to play with the jazz musicians. Jazz musicians were going over to the Palladium to play with the Latin musicians. So again, musically, from the early 1900s, we see black and Latinos rocking together musically. And then we start to get into the 50s, where we hear the Latin flavor in songs like Little Darling, from, I believe it was called Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs. And they have this song called Little, and you hear the clave rhythm. And you do the background of that song, and it is most definitely a Afro-Cuban clave rhythm. Then you get into the 60s, where now, so what's important to understand is that before Dizzy Gillespie meets Chano Pozo, no African-American big bands, ragtime, jazz, none of them ever utilized the Afro-percussive instruments like the bongo, the conga, the timbales. The cowbell was used on certain drum kits. But the cowbell, there are people who try to say, no, we had the cowbell. The cowbell is not unique to Latin music. Well, the cowbell was used, obviously, in fields, and they're using the cowbell on animals, to keep track of them. And we see that in China, and we see that in Africa, of course. But it was the Latin percussionists. It was Latin To this day, Latin percussionists are making cowbells. So the cowbell, which is called El Sincero, was the instrument of choice to brighten up certain sections of Latin music, right? So nothing like this was used until Dizzy connects with Channel Posso, and they make the song Manteca. Now, there is another song that has been brought to my attention that we didn't even realize. It's not in the documentary, and I just did a short video on it, where Dizzy Gillespie also makes a song called Nights in Tunisia. And Nights in Tunisia, now remember, Dizzy meets Mario Bauza, who is a Cuban musician in 1937. And he plays with Mario Bauza in Chick Webb's band. But then Dizzy wants to start his own band. So he's with Mario. And Mario Bauza is inspiring him, is influencing him with these Cuban rhythms. In the documentary, you hear Dizzy say that he's been in love with Cuban rhythms and music since 1938, where he saw them at the Savoy Ballroom. So now we got this record called Nights in Tunisia, which was written in 1942. This is before Manteca, but there's no percussion in this in Nights in Tunisia. There is a bass line that in 1944. Now, by the way, many people have done the covers of Nights in Tunisia. So 1944, Sarah Vaughan does a version of Nights. She's the first time it's recorded in 1944 by her and Dizzy Gillespie. Now, when you listen to that, it is the typical jazz riffs, right? The doom, 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 typical, real slow. 1946, Dizzy does a version, and he puts in this flavor with this bass line that reminds me of Manteca, right? So it's after Manteca that we start to hear these rhythms with these, with this music. And then we get into the 60s with funk and the funk musicians. So we got the 50s musicians who want to incorporate that sound. We got the 60s musicians, the funk musicians who now want to incorporate the conga rhythms, right? Obviously, the drum comes from Africa, but as we pointed out in the documentary, there's a difference between the African drum, which is the djembe, the bata drum, the ngoma drum, and the drums in the Caribbean, which was the conga drum, which was created in Cuba. Definitely an iteration of the African drum. It's all inspired. We're all connected. But when we start to see these rhythms that are being played in these funk bands, these guys are inspired by people like Tito Puente, by people like Machito and his Afro-Cubans. They're inspired by that. And we hear Jimmy Castor, one of the greatest B-boy anthems ever, It's Just Begun, tell us that he was inspired. He played with Tito Puente in those early years. And so all of that the way that they play the cowbells, the way that they play the congas, the way that they play the bongo, it's all inspired by the Afro-Cuban, Afro-Caribbean sounds that would eventually, now we get to the 70s, and we definitely hear it in the 70s. We hear it in disco, but then we get to the first iteration of rap records. We hear it in Rapper's Delight. We hear it on the first rap record on the Enjoy label, 1979, Rapping and Rocking the House. In fact, the conga player on that song with the funky 4+1 more is Filos Congas. And he tells his story in the documentary. He's playing those conga rhythms with Pumpkin. And Pumpkin is Panamanian and Costa Rican. And so we see it in songs like Super Rapping by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. This is still 79, 80. We see it in The Treacherous 3. We see it in the Love Rap by Spoonie G. all of these records have these percussive breakdowns with timbales and bongos and congas. That's not by accident. They wanted to recreate what the original breaks had. And when we listen to the original breaks, we listen to Bongo Rock Apache. That is a Caribbean brother who is playing the congas on Apache. When we listen to Super Sperm, we hear the side of the timbale, which is called the cascara or the shell. He's playing the cascara in a Latin style. When we hear Jam on the Groove by Ralph McDonald, that you hear that Latin flavor. When we hear Yellow Sunshine, when we hear It's Just Begun, when we hear Jam on Catch the Groove, Catch a Groove. Well, I mean, any of the traditional b-boy anthems, you are going to hear the Latin flavors. Now, what we are not saying, I want to make this clear, Dusty, that what we are not saying is that these records are Latin records. We're saying the segments of the breaks that the hip-hop DJs would eventually start to take contained the funk and the Latin go-offs. There's no doubt about it. And you can't listen to that and tell me you don't hear that. And the question is, why the Latin go-offs? Why not jazz go-offs? Why not blues go-offs? Because there was something about the Latin go-offs coupled with that funk, that playing, that James Brown, that Stubblefield playing on the one, that just made the b-boys want to get loose. It was the combination. It was the marriage of these two sounds that had been married that finally come into hip-hop now. And now it's a totally different thing. So for somebody to say, nah, Puerto Rico, yeah, we made music together all this time, but then we get to hip-hop, and nah, we didn't do this together, is absolutely absurd. I remember it's the summertime. I don't remember the month. I know it was after the blackout. And so I remember my mother had a good friend of hers who lived in our house. Her name was Doris, and her husband's name was Bo. These were African Americans. And so they lived with us with their children. And Doris was, my mother's best friend. So she's her age. So Doris was out in the street all the time. And Doris, I remember, came up to the house, and it was already dark. And she came to the room and she asked me, it's the first time I heard this term. She said, "Do you want to go to a jam?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What is a party? A party?" Now we were going to basement parties in our building. Again, there were DJs who were bringing sets out, and they're playing, like disco stuff. The kind of breakbeat stuff was really on the cassettes, right? So at this time we're hearing a lot of that, and so I said, "Well, you got to ask my mother." So she asked my mother. My mother said yes. So she takes me, and it's right around the corner. It's on East Tremont. I'm right around the corner from East Tremont, and it's at a schoolyard, 28 schoolyard. I remember walking up them steps as a 10-year-old kid, and I can't say I remember it being packed, but I do remember a table that was in the middle of the schoolyard with a little light on it, and I beelined right to that table, and there was a rope that stopped me from getting closer. And I just watched. There was a DJ, and he was taking two records of Apache, and he was cutting them back and forth. By this time, Grandmaster Flash had already perfected the quick mix theory. Herc had already, been playing around with the merry-go-round since 1975. So by 77, these guys are doing this. This kid is doing this, And there was a lone microphone on the table. I could see it in my mind right now. He grabs the microphone, this other kid, and he starts doing what I kept calling the yes, yes, y'all. And he's doing it to Apache. And, from then on, I started going, remember, I'm going to record stores, buying 45s of the latest hits, and I go in there asking them, do you guys have the yes, yes, y'all? And they're like, what are you talking about? What's that? And so I'm like, the guys that say, yes, yes, y'all, you don't stop. And they're looking at this little Puerto Rican kid, asking me, they're like, nah, we don't know this. So those were like my first exposures to this dance and this sound and then this voice, right? So it's like I'm still really not connecting, though I'm seeing the dancers break to Apache and I'm hearing the rappers, the MCs rap to Apache and others. Eventually, there would be other records like Super Sperm by Captain Sky, Frisco Disco, Cheryl Lynn's Got to Be Real. This is, coming a little bit later in the 70s where you're hearing the MCs rocking to that. So I'm playing Apache, as I said, out of my window, my third floor window. I would put my speaker in the window and I would just play the whole record, right? And so there would be kids outside who would be breaking. And then when the MCing started, there would be kids outside who would be MCing. And truth be told, even the MCs that I saw, though the majority were black, I did see Puerto Rican MCs on my block. I don't know who they were. I could name one of my friends. His name was Carlos. He used to do what I called the yes, yes, y'all. And so there were some Puerto Ricans that were doing it. Obviously, there were African Americans that were doing it. My man Bino and his brother Derek. This is an African American family. Bino was my best friend. He was always in my crib, and I was always in his crib, right? So, it was a combination of that with the disco scene coming in, and then the hustle scene. So they're doing the hustle, and all of that kind of stuff is happening around that time. So my first exposure was 75.
Okay, that's still early in the game. So we're right in the right time period. You mentioned you lived in a tight-knit community full of blacks and Hispanics. Doris, your black neighbor, was best friends with your mom, a Hispanic. Yeah. Dino, a black guy, was your best friend. You hung out with Dino all the time. One main thing I hear in my comments all the time is people say that back in the 70s, blacks and Latinos didn't even get along with each other, let alone listen to hip hop together. What do you say about that?
All I can say is that was not my experience, right? So again, I was living in the South Bronx. Now, the area where I lived, and then you would go down further, down into the 140s, where you would find a lot of the burnt down tenements and the burnt down buildings. There were burnt down areas around my way too, but what we saw was blacks and Latinos together. I don't know what people are talking about. Again, my experience has been that we were always together. And, did we fight? Yes, we did. I fought with my best friend Bino all the time. And I'm talking about fist fights. And we get it off, and then we make up, and then I'd be in his house eating dinner, and he'd be in my house eating. So, it was like this. If he came to my house, we were like, we were comic book collectors, and we were baseball card collectors. And so he would come to my house, and he'd be there for a long time, and my mother would never say to him, Bino, we're going to get ready to have dinner, so, I'm going to have to ask you to go home. She would never say that to him. she would tell Bino, go wash your hands. We're getting ready to have dinner. And the same thing happened in Bino's house. It was never go home. It was, we're in each other's cribs. We're borrowing, we ran out of sugar. We're borrowing sugar from each other. We're borrowing milk from each other. So this whole idea of this separation, I don't know where they get the idea from, obviously, because we're human beings. There is always this, there's always going to be people of every race that has a problem with somebody of another race. So were there Puerto Ricans who didn't like black people? I'm sure there were, and there probably were. Were there black people who didn't like Puerto Ricans? I'm sure there were. But the majority, we're talking about the majority of us rock together